What's up, folks? It is Dan Rojas here with the Takeover Podcast, bringing you fire content for entrepreneurs, business, tech, startups, and especially real estate with zero branding. And today I've got an amazing friend, one of my mentors, one of my role models. I've got Bobby Davidowitz, Bobby the franchise, with us. And if you'll see in the background today, we're actually shooting from Animal Kingdom. So if I lag out a little bit, Bobby will still be there, so don't worry. But I've got the man himself. This man has changed my life, to say the least. He's set my mind in the right aspect to go ahead and double my business in just my first 2 years of real estate. And it's been nothing but amazing. And so without further ado, I'm going to bring out my friend, Bobby the franchise. What's up, Bobby?
What's up? What's up? Well, I'm glad I got a name Bobby franchise because you murdered my last name.
Yeah, I was trying to spit out some stuff and I accidentally was like, I tripped over the last name. So my bad on that one.
Like, what? Who's that guy? No. Yeah. Go ahead and go with Bobby franchise then. Okay, cool. So, thanks for having me, brother.
Oh, of course, man. No, I'm so happy to be able to have you on the show today. So I'm going to give a little background. So for those of you that don't know Bobby, the way I know Bobby is actually very simple. So my sister-in-law, as most people know, are the ones who got me into real estate. She's actually right here as well. So she got me into real estate and she brought me into the office and I never left because of the free lunches. But Bobby's the one who actually taught me everything that I know. So like a lot of my success actually has to deal with him and the program that he does at our office. Now, he's a great leader. He's also a great coach and trainer, not just for his love of Tony Robbins, but also because of his in-depth knowledge and expertise when it comes to writing contracts, negotiating best sales, and a lot of tactics behind it. So that's actually how I know Bobby. But Bobby, tell us a little bit more about your background, where you started, where you came from, and give the folks a little bit of perspective about yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm originally from Puerto Rico. So I was born in Puerto Rico, and I always say I'm Jew-Rican, right? I'm Puerto Rican with a very Jewish last name. So I was born in Puerto Rico, moved to Central Florida when I was 5 years old. Grew up with Mary, which is an incredible place to grow up. Amazing people there. Still some of my best friends in life are from playing football and high school in Lake Mary and all that good stuff. Went to University of Florida, graduated from there, and was pretty much lost. Like I had done the whole go to school, follow the normal path. You're supposed to go to college, you're supposed to do this, and then there's going to be some amazing job waiting for you. But for me, it was more like I think that regular business is boring, and I think that I don't know what the heck I'm doing in my life. So sure enough, I actually worked at a nightclub for those of you who are in the Orlando area. I don't know if you guys remember a little place called Antigua. It was a nightclub downtown. I worked there actually when I graduated for about a little over a year, and I was just trying to figure things out. And luckily, I ended up running to a guy that was starting a branch of a mortgage company. So back in around 2002 is when I first got into the real estate industry through the mortgage side of things. So I did pretty well there. Ended up opening my own company with another partner called Commercial Lending Inc. right in downtown Orlando. Did that for a few years, where actually up until basically the market crashed, and then basically went for a while just kind of doing some stuff that I wanted to do. So I always had entertainment industry aspirations. I first wanted to be an actor, wanted to be a rapper, did some behind the scenes music industry, entertainment industry stuff, video production, all that good stuff. And actually ended up working with a good buddy of mine named Nick Nanton over at Celebrity Branding Agency. And after I got done working with Nick, I was really looking for, what should I do next? And whatever I wanted to do next had to be something I committed to 100%. I felt like I was, kind of dabbling a little bit, like I always was searching for the next thing. And I really felt like it was time to really say, hey, whatever it's next, the only way I'm going to be truly successful at something is if I truly commit to it. And real estate kind of literally called me because a friend of mine named Pete Cook called me up and said, hey, I'm starting this real estate investment company. I got some investors to back us. Would you want to be a part of it? And I was like, brother, I think I was waiting for this phone call. And that kind of got me back into the game. I got my real estate license back in 2005 while I was doing mortgages. And but I had really only done, deals for friends, deals for myself, and investments. I hadn't never really committed to being a professional realtor. Well, as I was working with the investment company I realized I can turn a lot of these leads into listings. And I was like, man, I should really find a realtor to do this, not knowing that I should have been the realtor. I was like, somebody else, some other realtor will do this. I'll just take a referral fee type thing. And sure enough, I met this girl named Jennifer Encarnacion. Shout out to Jen. And I met her at a bar, coincidentally. That's weird. And she said, hey, you should really come into my office and meet with me and meet my broker. And I was like, oh, I don't even really need to meet your broker. I just looking for somebody who can help me with these listings. And sure enough, I went to the office, and you're there now, so you probably got the same vibe I did, right? I walked in, there was massive energy. I just felt this vibe there where literally I drove away, and I'm in the car just thinking to myself, and I was like, man, I think I'm just going to hang my license here because I just feel good about this place, not knowing what would unfold in the next 5-6 years. And I actually did meet that broker, which is my business partner now, Gil Ramos. And it was sky's the limit from there. And as you know, I've kind of went from being an agent to being a coach of agents, to now being a team leader with my partner Gil Ramos and EXP. And now we're running a 600 agent organization that's nationwide and growing. So along the shoulder bit right there.
Yeah. So I love the fact that you came from experience and you came from mortgage side of things, and then you kind of like linked up in a very unique way, right? And so tell us a little bit more about what got you into the coaching side of things, because I know that that's kind of something that you've been dabbling a lot more in recently when it comes to leadership and when it comes to training, because I know that you've developed this talent development program, the TDP program. So tell us a little bit more about that. Like, what got you interested? How did you get started? Where did you get the knowledge from that you give us like on a regular basis?
Well, one thing Gil always says is like, you really only have to be a chapter ahead to teach somebody something, right? So if I read the chapter first, I can teach you that chapter, right? And I just felt like, one, I combined a lot of my experience. So I have been in business for 18 years. I mean, I'm not a newbie by any sense, but I'm always learning, new things and wanting to share those things with people. I mean, when I started, I was very much like you, Dan. You're one of those guys that is willing to give knowledge. I just love helping people, to be honest with you. When I started hanging my license, when we used to be Exit Realty, I was just helping whoever I had around me, right? So I was a little bit older than some of the newer agents coming in. I had a little bit more experience. And so I would just help them with things. And I was just becoming kind of an influencer in the office. There was no extra payment for this or anything like that. It's just, I'm the type of person who's like, hey, if you need help with something, I'm going to help you. I want to see you do well. And, as that started to kind of happen more frequently, I think that Gil noticed that. I think Marissa in our office noticed that and was like, hey, this guy Bobby's really like trying to add value to people around him. And it's just something I believe in. I mean, it's not just something that I think, part of the reason I like Tony Robbins is he reinforces some of the things that I already believe. I believe that if you add massive value, you'll get it back 1,000-fold. And so that kind of started from just wanting to help. And then I remember one day, Marissa came to me the same way she came to you probably one day. And she was like, hey, Bobby, we need somebody to teach a class. and can you teach open house class? And I was like, sure, I'll teach a class. And I think I got a pretty good response from it. And I think she told Gil, like, hey, this guy's got something when it comes to teaching and coaching. But it really didn't happen till a little bit long after that when we actually started the official program. And what happened is that in our office, Gil always set a tone of, we're here to develop agents. So we had a looser kind of mentorship program in place. But there was a point where I was like, me and Gil were looking to do some other stuff aside from just regular real estate production. And I told him, I was like, if there was another revenue source that could kind of free me a little bit from having to do regular production, that would help. And I think over the months, it kind of occurred to him, like, well, we kind of need a talent development program. Like, we need an official program, and maybe that's something that you can run. And that's when like the official position of director of agent development was created, as we call it in the office. I'm the office dad, which I still have kind of a problem with, but it does make sense. I do feel like, new agents are kind of my kids, no matter what age they are, they come in, whatever, because, you really are learning something new. And anybody who's been in real estate or wants to be in real estate, it's like drinking through a fire hose.
Yeah.
Unless you have a guide through it, it can be really tough. So that's kind of how it all started, man.
So I gotta tell the people something that's really unique and they don't understand is that when you jump into real estate, you truly do need a mentor. I mean, I'm a very learn on my own, do it yourself kind of guy. And even me, I was just like you said, Bobby, you put it so perfectly. It's like drinking through a water hose or drinking from a fire hose. And it's true because you got to learn contracts, you got to learn personalities, you got to learn negotiations and a whole other slew of things, searches, auto searches, emails, you name it. And I urge you, if you're in the real estate game, you got to get a mentor. And honestly, Bobby's got an amazing program. So if you're here in the Central Florida area, he's got a TDP program, the Talent Development Program here. So if you're nearby, reach out to him at Bobby Franchise on Instagram. And that way you guys can go ahead and see what it's about. I mean, our classes, are fantastic to learn from. And I got to tell you that my whole success comes from sitting in, day out, writing down every single note, taking the notes twice, reading them again, and then actually executing them. So I got to give a lot of credit and a lot of props to my man right here, Bobby Franchise. So Bobby, tell us something about what you're looking forward to this year. I know 2020 is a huge year for a lot of folks, especially for you. So give me something that you're looking forward to this year, and then give me an event that you are looking forward to attending this year that you think that other people should be attending as well.
Well, one of the things I'm looking forward to this year is really taking advantage of this, right? This platform. It's funny because I did a podcast a few weeks back and I posted it on Facebook and I was like, the response I've gotten, you never know who's watching. And it's funny, I was meeting with, a marketer yesterday and he was saying, he calls it the silent majority. So, if you're an agent out there and you're thinking, should I do video? Should I put content out there? The answer is yes. And I've been guilty of being almost, a little bit too secret about what we're doing here. And I think this year is that year where we finally, I feel so confident in what the value that we provide that I'm okay. I'm like, let's just put the stuff out there. Let's let people know what we're doing. So it's really just how much content can we get out there? How much nuggets can we give out there to help agents build their business, and their mindset, as you mentioned Tony, but, it doesn't have to be Tony. The foundation of what we do in our office is personal development. And the reality is that we're a personal development company that happens to do real estate because, as you guys know, anybody who studies success at all or read success books and things like that knows that it really comes down to a foundation of mindset. And if you don't believe the right things, it doesn't matter what plan I give you. So skills are actually the least important thing. It's what you believe. Do you believe you're worth it? Do you believe you deserve to be successful? Do you believe that 6 figures is in the future? Do you believe that 7 figures is in your future? And unless you believe those things, I realize over coaching agents for 3 years, it doesn't matter. They come in, they say, Bobby, I need a plan. I give them a plan. I don't see them for a month and a half. They come back and they're freaking out. And I ask them if they did any of the plan, and they say no. At least they're honest. They're like, no, I didn't do anything. And at first I used to be like, man, is that a work ethic issue? And I don't actually believe that. I don't think people are inherently lazy or anything like that. I just believe that if you go home and tell yourself that you can't, and you're never going to take the action. So I work a lot on that. As far as events coming up, I mean, we went through, we have EXP Shareholder Summit coming up this year. We plan on bringing hundreds of people to that. We have an event coming up in Dallas that I'd love for people to come out. Actually, Tony Robbins will be speaking there. We just talked about it. That's August 26th through the 28th. Another one of our leaders in EXP, Brent Gove, will be hosting that event. You can actually go to that event for $197, as low as $197. So to see Tony Robbins for $197, you will know that's very cheap. So that's something coming up. Something really recent. When is this podcast going out? Is it going out today? Is it going out live right now?
We are live right now. So we are out and people are watching us live as we're doing this. And I got my man Sean Romano over here in the background.
The real estate game hits hard like a safety.
Oh man, let me put my pants on. No. So a really recent one is tomorrow. So if anybody's out there who's an agent, new or experienced that wants to learn a little bit more about how I do comps and how I show agents how to comp properties, basically get the value for properties, whether you're working with investors, sellers, or buyers, comping a property is one of the primary skills that you're going to want to have. I'm going to do my famous straight out of comps class tomorrow at 10 a.m. at our office. That's 401 South Rosalind Avenue in Orlando, Florida, 32801. So that's tomorrow at 10 a.m. I'll be teaching that class. And, that's a skill that, I really, actually, when I started with that investment company, we were a wholesaling company. So, really, until you know the potential after repair value of a property, you can't really do the numbers on a flip or a wholesale, right? So, over a 6-month period, I probably comped 800 and something properties and just really kind of developed the muscle of how to kind of pick up the clues. You're almost like a detective. I mean, there is no one right answer to the price you list the property for or the final value of it. But what you do is you pick up a whole lot of little data points and clues, and you read some stuff going on, and you see what's happening in the neighborhood, and you look in the area at the movement, and suddenly this number starts to kind of bubble up in your mind, and you're like, man, that's the number, right? That's the number I think it'll go for. And after putting that into practice for a long time, and seeing that it bear out at those numbers, I think that's a really good class for people to come to. So if there's any other ones you can think of, Dan, I'm drawing some any more blanks on
So Tony Robbins for such a cheap price, man, you can't really beat that. I mean, that's a huge, phenomenal event. And any of our classes. So if you're in Central Florida and you're a realtor and you're wanting to gain more knowledge, or you're wanting to amplify or exponentially grow your business, check out this class. The comps and contracts class is so epic. I mean, it used to not be called that. We recently rebranded it to kind of make it more appealing, because contracts aren't as appealing as you'd like them to be. But this is honestly why we are so technical. That's why we're so good at defending our clients and protecting them along the way. So that's a huge class. So I highly encourage you guys to do that. And Tony Robbins is a fantastic one. So I definitely think that's huge.
And also for those of you watching out there, we do classes here every Tuesday, every Thursday from 10 to 12. So any Tuesday or Thursday from 10 to 12, you can stop by our office, come to our classes. We keep it fresh. We keep new speakers coming in. I'm one of them. Obviously, my business partner Gil. Dan teaches classes. And then in the final week of this month, we're doing another boot camp. So boot camp is a little bit more intensive. That's a 3-day boot camp. The first day we make sure we leave it for the agents that are actually going to be working in our office, but the second and third day we open up to agents from outside, and we talk about everything from how to write a winning contract to how to pick up on people's personality profiles and how to talk to them in a way that really appeals to them, so that you can get what you want done. So just reach out to us, Dan, myself. We got plenty of events going on, so don't worry.
All right, so Bobby, I know you're a huge firm believer of like books and audiobooks. So tell the folks an audiobook that you highly recommend that they should either listen to now, or just a regular book that they could be listening to right now.
Okay, so I'll give you 2 of them real quick. So one of them that I tell my agents to always read when it comes to negotiations, it's Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss. Never Split the Difference. The whole premise is that, negotiations isn't like, okay, you want this, I want this, and we're going to meet somewhere in the middle, because if you meet somewhere in the middle, then nobody really gets what they want, right? And this Chris Voss is a 30-year hostage negotiator for the FBI, and he realized that negotiating with hostage takers is actually very similar on dealing with clients or bosses or any negotiate or your spouse, right? And there's a certain way to do that, and it's really through asking the right questions and through understanding the other side. So I think that this is like massively valuable, whether you're trying to keep your personal relationship together, or you want to get what you want, or if you're working with a seller who doesn't want to do the price that you want to list the property at. One I'm reading right now. I'm an avid listener of books and reader of books, but mostly listening these days. Right now, I'm actually listening to a book called The Surrender Experiment. The Surrender Experiment. And it's really about a guy who's built multiple multi-million-dollar companies, but realized through his practice of yoga and meditation that if he can quiet the voice in his mind and kind of allow life and the universe to kind of flow, and he follows that path. In other words, stop putting your personal preferences on everything. And the minute somebody presents you with something you weren't expecting, you tend to, judge it or say that it's not what you want or whatever. And this guy finally surrendered and started to just follow the things that life was presenting to him, and literally almost, I mean, he obviously did work, but without even trying, built a successful construction company, a successful software company, and just the things that happened in his life. And I think that inherently this is something that I have already believed in, but we never do it fully, right? We always there's some times that I'm just like, I mean, I can tell you right now, my decision to come to this office was purely me allowing life to flow, because I told you I had zero intention of hanging my license here. I met that day with Jennifer Conacion, and when I got in the car, the feeling that I got was, oh, I'm supposed to hang my license here. And it wasn't something I planned on, and I kind of just listened to it, because I was kind of surrendering at that moment. But sure enough, every single day there's a point where I'm like, oh, that's not really what I want. I want this. And then, it's helping me say, let me just relax. Let this thing play out. Let's flow with it and see what kind of opportunities you get. So that's the surrender experiment.
So I got to tell you, all those things are so true. And I've been living by that a lot more lately. The whole, kind of go with the flow. It's not really going with the flow. It's letting the universe control you, right? That's how it's actually working out in your favor. So yeah. I firmly believe everything that you're saying, and we're all in the right place at the right time, especially right now. So if I was a new agent, which I am, if I was a different new agent, give me 2 pieces of advice that you would give them to go ahead and that they can plug in right now that will automatically generate them more business in the next 60 days.
So I think when it comes down to, if there's 2 things that an agent needs to focus on, is one, connecting, right? I think we overcomplicate. See, like if I give you too much at the beginning, you'll start formulating all these things. The reality is that their business comes through people, and it comes through connecting with people. We always like to show that video, don't we? The one from the Saturday Night Live skit with Big Papi, where he creates a dating website and he calls it Go Outside. Right. And he's like, you want to meet some people? Go outside. There's people everywhere. Right. And I think and I played that video because he's right. Like, I've never paid for a lead in my life. And the reason that I haven't is because I actually go outside. Right. I go to events. I network with people. I go to places where people gather. I mean, even my gym classes or group classes, because I genuinely enjoy being around people. Now, I hear a lot of people say, well, I'm more of an introvert. I love when people label themselves. By the way, if you decide to label yourself something, you're just going to be that person, right? Like, that's basically you surrendering that you'll never change and that this is who you are. And I don't really believe that. I believe that somebody says, hey, I'm not a people person, or I'm an introvert. They probably were hurt by someone, at a young age, and then decided that, people mean bad things and they want to shut themselves out from the world. So if I can shift that mindset to let you know that everything good you've actually gotten in life has had to come through somebody else. It really has. Like, everything good, every opportunity, every lesson, everything came through people. So I would say, hey, look, your first thing is, don't be a secret agent, right? Connect with as many people as possible. Don't wait till you're perfect to start. So what does that mean? It could be, I always teach a green light strategy on Facebook. Go on your Facebook page, click on your friends. Everybody who's online right now has a little green dot next to them. Go on their page and comment on something. Add some value to something they've posted and start a conversation with the intention of sitting down for coffee. The one thing that I know that I think that I do well is I don't put agendas on meeting people. Okay, I don't go in there thinking, okay, this is only a victory if I sit down with this person and they give me a listing immediately, or they are ready to buy right now. I say it's always, experience is never wasted. Whenever I connect with a high level person, and I like to say high level, right? You want to make sure you're meeting with great people. So as long as you're meeting with good people, they will lead you to something good. You just have to ask enough questions and get to know them and get to know their story. And it might not even be just a deal. It could be the next company you go to. It could be that other thing you were looking for that you're like, wow, I can't believe this person just said this. No, I can believe it, because you were open to receiving that message. So number one is connect. Don't overcomplicate it. Don't worry about whether or not you have all the skills needed in real estate, especially if you're on a team like ours. Like, my promise is I won't let you screw it up, right? But you got to make that initial connection. And then number 2 is be consistent. I think that what happens is a lot that you hear so many things that you need to do in real estate that you start trying 20 things at once and you never do any of them very, very well, or you do a little bit and you say it doesn't work. Like, somebody says, "Oh, I tried calling that list and it's no good." I'm like, "Well, how many people did you call? 10? Oh, well, you can't make call 100 and then tell me that the list doesn't work. Be consistent, learn some things over those 100 calls before you tell me that you have a conversion problem or the list doesn't work, right? So being consistent on a weekly basis, whether you're going to focus on for sale by owners, whether you're going to focus on your sphere of influence, whether you're a cool techie guy like Dan who's savvy, and if Dan decided that he wanted to do a podcast if he told me, "I want to do one thing, I want to do a podcast every single day as my means of getting business," I'd say do that. And just be consistent. If he does that every day, you don't think that he's going to build up a database. You don't think that in those people, we sell a product that everybody needs, a home. Everybody needs a place. So it's not who you can find, it's how many people in general you can connect with. So that would be my thing, is connect and be consistent.
So I got to say that is so true. You got to connect and you got to be consistent. I don't have any else to say to add to that because you say it so perfectly. Bobby, you always have the right words to say at the right time. And I feel like it's not even like with practice. It's just how you are and your mindset. Because like even a year ago, we've talked about this, about how like I was only half positive, right? And I was looking at things as like wins and losses. And I don't look at things like that anymore. Everything's either a lesson learned or it's a win. Because that's the truth of life. If you come down to it, you really break down everything you've ever done. It's either a lesson learned or a win, and nothing else.
Well, let me ask you a question then. Because I have noticed this, and this is one of the great parts of what I do is you get to watch transformations, and I'd be curious to know, if there was some moment, something that clicked at some point, and don't say something nice, just say something you personally that you came upon that kind of said, "Hey, this is not profitable for me to do this way." What would it be?
So I'm going to say that the real moment was when you literally looked at me. I was real stressed out one day, and I don't know if you'll remember this, but you literally looked at me and you said, "Is this something you can control, or is this something that you can't control?" And honestly, that day was, I think, the day I had the light bulb, the little switch in my head that told me, like, wait, I can't control this. So what am I really doing? Why am I stressing out about this? And honestly, my financial decisions have been better. My work decisions have been better. Even my life decisions have been better. And you've coached me through a lot of stuff, and Gil has done the same too. And I'm going to say that was really like the truth of the moment, was when you said, "Is this something you can control, or is this something you can't control?" And that was the day I was like, I was like, there's so much stuff I'm stressing about that I can't even control. So what difference does it make? And honestly, that was the turning point for me.
And I if from the outside looking in, to be quite honest with you, I think one of the changes that happened is that you just committed. And this is a tough thing for a lot of people to do, because I think we grew up in a time when everything was transactional. If you give something, you're gonna get something, and things like that. And I think that you made a switch to say, "Hey, you know what? I'm just gonna add massive value and let that take care of itself." Because this is what I see a lot with people, and this is why a lot of times they stumble in the industry, is because they make their relationships transactional. Like, "Hey, look, if a friend doesn't give me business, it's fine." It's not what it's about. It's about building that relationship. And if I can add value, I know that, and it's always worked out, because the thing is people are looking for that immediate gratification. And if you plant enough great seeds, they grow. And I've seen you over the past 4 or 5 months. This kid, I'm bragging on you a little bit, but you've been teaching amazing classes. I see you helping out in every way you can. Dan's the guy in our office who actually celebrates everybody's birthday on social media, puts their graphic up, and makes sure that everybody's feeling included and celebrated on their birthday. Just, to me, I look at things like that and I say, man, Heath probably thinks that's something very small, but that has ripples, within our organization and within those people's lives. And that's what I would say, one thing I bought in that Tony Robbins says, if you want to make the most money, add the most value. And once you commit to that, and that's how we've grown so much with our EXP model is exactly that, is how can we add the most value? People aren't joining our crew because we're EXP, because a lot of people don't even understand the model. The reality is they join us because they feel that we're adding value into their lives. Like I said, we're a personal development company that happens to do real estate. So I just want to tell you that, man. Appreciate you.
And I appreciate that, man. Honestly, feedback. You've been more real with me than most people have my entire life. I know one day you like sat me down. You're like, hey, I got to chat with you about this, and this because, I know somebody said this, but that ain't true because I know you and I know your personality and I know your heart. And honestly, those are a lot of the things along the way that they kind of grew me. And a lot of people don't understand that when it comes down to being real with each other. I mean, you don't have to be rude about it. You don't have to be disrespectful. You just got to do it in a manner where like they get it, right? So you didn't disrespect me. You weren't like blunt about it. You were just forward. You were like, hey, this is what needs to change. This is what I think that you're being perceived as, and I think this is better if you do it this way. And I was like, oh, perfect. So honestly, thank you for all the help. I know a lot of other folks could use the same help. So if you guys are looking for an opportunity to grow, or you're changing your lives, or even just your work ethics, Bobby Davidowitz is one of the greatest human beings I've ever met. So I owe a lot of my success to him. And Bobby, this has been a pleasure. This has been a lot of fun. We are, if I can show you. Oh no, hold on. I thought I was flipping the camera around, but I wasn't. But I'll just show you guys. We're about to get on Mount Everest here. So Bobby, thank you for the time. Thank you for the education. Thank you for giving the people some truth that they needed to hear. And this has been another episode of the Takeover Podcast, folks, with my good friend, Bobby Davidowitz. And make sure you check us out every Wednesday at 2 p.m. If you guys like, share, or comment on this video and you send me a screenshot, we will send you a vacation stay voucher for multiple places around the world. We've got Mexico, we've got Italy, we've got Greece, we've got Bali, Fiji. So make sure you guys send me a screenshot of that afterwards, or send me a message saying, hey, I shared it, and blah, blah, blah. And we'll make sure to email you that voucher right away. And we'll see you on the next one, guys.
The Takeover.